Good afternoon, then, Yogesh. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this interview and to showcase you, as it were, to the GBS body. We're privileged to have you. You are obviously my friend, fellow poet. I know you through the London Magazine and have followed your work for quite a while in your poetry work, but there's much more to you than that. And we're going to ask you a series of questions and see if we can maybe show GBS students a little bit about you. And I think we'll hopefully we'll be inspired by your journey as well. And so really the first question is to tell us about your professional career, starting from your arrival in the UK.
Oh, good afternoon, and thanks for having me, Stephen. It is a really good opportunity for me to be able to talk about these things, and thanks for inviting me to take me through my career and talk about the work I do. So, basically what happens is that in life, everything is difficult, is struggle, and one has to be able to kind of adjust to changes and everything. So before I came to England, for example, with the British citizenship I had, I was still put into the Harmondsworth prison when I came to England.
My word.
As an immigrant. So that's how, when we're talking about struggles, that's how things can be in life. It can be difficult. And the thing is that when I was released from the prison, it wasn't like one thinks as to, oh God, I have lost everything and what's happening to me. So rather than sulk, you start thinking of future and what you are going to be able to do in your life. So it was I saw it as an excitement when I came out of the detention center. So from there on, what happened is that, first thing was to survive, to put some money in the pocket. So I came out on Friday, I went for an interview on Saturday, and I started my job in Harrods on Monday. Never since then, I have been unemployed. So worked very hard from there. So career started. So I worked in Harrods to put my feet down. And then during that period, I also came to know various friends and, various people. And from there, I found a contact because I had qualified as an optometrist in India. And here in England, I had to restart everything. So career-wise, obviously optometry I had done in India and I have been practicing that did not get recognized here. So I had to find an alternative. So through these friends, I went to see a managing director of Dolan Aitchison Opticians and regional manager. And we ended up talking 1 hour as one did. And then he was so impressed that he opened the doors for me. So he organized part work with the opticians and 1 or 2 days release to the college. And he gave me even a letter to the principal, so which I took to the principal, and he interviewed me. And in the middle of the year, he immediately took me on and started my education as well, pre-education for slightly lower grade in the sense of dispensing optician rather than practicing as an optometrist. But one has to compromise. See, as I said, changes in life happen and you can't just sit back. So a lot of your students may also come across this, in their career as well, so setbacks are part of life. But the key thing is to get over it and just start working on it. And through Dolan Aitchison's, then I had a lot of training. The managers were so impressed that even before I qualified, they offered me a management job. and
Mm-hmm.
straight away moved into the practice management. So from there on, I did various stints as a practice
Mm-hmm.
management. Then, being an ambitious guy, I wanted to start my own practice very soon with
Mm-hmm.
little money. So I got some friends together, and we put some money together, and
Mm-hmm.
you open a practice. And that was in Wimbledon. We ran it for
Mm-hmm.
2 years, and then after I sold the practice because there wasn't a great deal of scope, with three of us in the same practice.
Yes, yes.
So you have to start looking at kind of like opening up the more opportunities for you. So I jumped to the other management jobs which came along my way. So I did various stints with the various management and sold the practice. And then after, what happened is that during my stint as manager, I I was very still ambitious, and I never stayed in one place. I worked at very many places, even with Dolan Aitchison. Like I came even to Worthing, where you are.
Gosh.
So like I went as far as Leicester and lots of
Yeah,
places
yeah.
and lots of practices I went to. So I learned a lot from that.
Yes.
And from there, I went on to, after selling my practice, I went to Clement Clark Opticians.
Yeah.
There I also flourished quite well, and then went to Boots Opticians. From in Boots, I really thrived because at that time it was the beginning of the talk about the equal opportunity,
Yeah, yeah.
and there was no Indian guy anywhere in the corporate world, up there
Wow.
in the hierarchy.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
So I had to kind of like make in my decision within myself to challenge myself to it
Yeah, yeah.
and get up the ladder. So
Yeah.
how I managed it was through, obviously the key thing is to prepare,
Mm, mm,
to acquire skills, to
mm,
learn,
mm, mm,
see how
mm.
others are doing things, and
Yeah,
how your superiors are doing as well. So even if you go
yeah,
to
yeah.
so for example, you go to the meeting, you see them actually, not just, you just don't go to attend the meeting, but
Yeah, yeah.
you also try to analyze, what went wrong and how he handled it or she
Yes, yeah,
handled
yeah,
it,
yeah.
uh, and pick up points from that. So that just adds to your repertoire over the period. And that's how I used the management skill. And then obviously Boots provided me a lot of training as well,
Yeah, yeah,
ongoing
yeah, yeah.
training. And in Boots, I really proved in various ways the targets and all that, as a manager. So from practice to practice, it started proving to them that if there was a trouble, I was the one they had to call on to sort it out.
Made yourself
So
invaluable then.
yeah, so I suddenly established my value without knowing it, that
Yeah, yeah.
this was a possibility for me, and I capitalized. Bearing that in mind, I also targeted people who were involved in those sort of areas. And rather than approach them and kind of like, overimpose yourself, you I created a kind of like atmosphere of
Yeah.
conversation. And through
Yeah,
that
yeah.
conversation, you're dropping points here and there. And well, you've seen me at London Magazine, how I'm just present there, but never imposing. It's
No,
just
no, 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 no,
you make it as a natural kind of like integration, with the people. You create friendship, rapport, and through
Yeah.
that, you point out. I pointed out various say problems, highlight it, could suggest solutions as well, and they got the credit for it. So you kind of like accumulate goodwill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And goodwill helped me to get up to a very high middle management. And in Boots Opticians, I used to manage about 40 practices in south of England. So I did quite a extensive traveling. Also, I did lots of projects because of my ability to solve problems and resolve them. So they would seek me out with various projects. So we created projects and we just couldn't sort the problem out. For example, they had a very faltering problem with the quality assessment and quality certification with the product they were putting in patients' hand. So they, they approached me. So I, the practice, one of the practice I was managing, and I went to the head office and created a project for it. And there were about other 5 of us managing whole of UK. So that's Scotland, Ireland, and all. So 5 of us were managing whole of UK. And basically, I was the one who proved it that within certain period, you can actually create product and deliver it. And it's a quality product. The whole project of it was created and reinvented, reworked, and I delivered it. So that way, what happened is that again it proves it to your peers that you are able to deliver. So a lot of your listeners may be thinking in those terms as well, that when they move on to the the career.
I think Yogesh, that's it's what's really important, and I think what will be invaluable really for our students is that sense of your journey. That word journey is really important. That the career is a journey.
Yes,
you've strategized, you've made choices, but you've been given options, you've been given chances as well, and it's all a journey. And I'm fascinated by that.
That's also very important that you find right people, because there will be always people, there's politics, as you know.
Of course, yeah.
And corporate sector is well known for it as well, So they have their, people, these senior managers will have their own favorite people as well. They would want them to sort of progress, in their career. So you have to find right people as well, and learn the craft of kind of like communication and impressing people as well, crossing the border of your peers, how to impress the other peers as well, you see, who are not bored you. And I think it's very much becomes a part and a way of your life in a way, because you're practicing all these things. And when it comes to poetry, for example, later in my life, the people wonder, how I have been able to manage within short period so much.
We're putting a lot in. I mean, that really brings us, Yogesh, that brings us to our next question. I mean, you are well known as a poet, and if you don't mind me saying, a poet whose reputation could grow. Your reputation continues to grow in your senior years. Now, I'm also getting to my senior years, so I can say that to you now. But what I would say to you is, can you tell us a bit more about your poetry? For instance, how you came to write poetry, and also something about the importance of poetry to your life, to your being, really.
I came to write poetry, obviously, during school years. And while I was obviously, studying various subjects, for some reason, literature really grabbed me. And, in the area of poetry, what happened is that the metaphors, images, and, similes, how they took the meaning further than what was actually in front of us, presented in words. And those lips, kind of like in meaning, in whatever you say, sort of became like a different dimension for me, and I got attracted to it to explore it a bit more. So obviously, I started reading a lot more, and I developed various interests as well. I mean, one of the side track was I went into kind of like the drama as well. I did acting quite a lot. And in the school area, a period of my schooling, I took part in lots of plays. I won many awards. And I went to the state level, Gujarat state level, and that opened up an opportunity for me for a Bollywood contract as well. So I had signed for a film as well in Bollywood. You know,
Fascinating. Mm.
so it's just as you said, it's a journey, isn't it? And how
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
uh, but lots of preparation. The importance I cannot put much on
yeah,
is
yeah,
important. It is research, hard work, and you got to really prepare yourself.
yeah.
How to have skills.
Mm,
Uh, if you don't have a quality, you haven't prepared yourself,
mm, mm.
then rest is just a dream.
I think so. I think so.
And those dreams, then when they fall apart,
Mm.
people fall apart
Yes,
really well, you see.
yes.
So
Uh,
it goes in hand in hand. It's very
mm, mm.
important.
And writing poetry is a craft, isn't it? It's a craft you have to
Exactly.
learn. You have to apply yourself to it.
Well, it never stops, does it?
No, it never stops. No.
Because I mean, like during the pandemic
Mm,
period, what happened is that because I couldn't go anywhere,
mm,
and God, I used to love coming to meeting you at these various
mm,
parties and all that.
yeah.
Um, but what I did, I took an opportunity of that period,
Mm,
and I'm surrounded by. I can see now even from my window the Wandle River,
mm, mm,
and it's all around here is woods and
mm,
trees, and it is really old. There's a lot of history around it here as well.
yeah.
So I walk miles and miles around river and
Mm,
in the
mm.
woods. And luckily, I have a friend who lives across the road who's writing novel as well.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. Yeah,
so we walk and we talk literature and all that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
alone, if I'm just walking alone as well, quite often,
Mm, mm.
I listen to podcasts. For example,
Yeah,
the London Magazine
yeah.
podcast you started recently.
Yes, yeah.
Um, Faber and Faber podcast is my favorite one
Mm,
with
yes.
Rachel Allen,
Very.
and how, so you learn, because you're listening to them,
Yes.
it again, as I say to you, prepare. It never
Absolutely.
stops.
It
And
never
that's
stops.
why sometimes you feel like, you want to disown your own writing, the previous writing.
Of course, of course, of
So
course.
I feel sometimes like, looking at my old collection of poems and say, oh God, it's out in the public now. What can I
Yeah,
do?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think everyone who's ever written anything feels like that when it's
Yeah.
published and think, yes. Tell us about your MBE. The students may not know, but you were awarded an MBE, sorry, in
Yeah.
which year?
This January in
It was
Queen's,
this January, wasn't it? I thought it was last
Queen's
year, but it's this
honors
January.
list. Yeah, the New
What?
Year's honors list.
Yeah, but that's a great honour to be awarded the MBE. But can you tell us what was it for, and how much does it mean to you?
I got the MBE for my literary work.
Mm,
So obviously, somewhere along the line, my activism in literature must have
mm,
come to notice as well. I mean,
yeah.
lots of things I do are not even in the public eye, for
Mm,
example. I do
mm,
a lot of
mm,
things behind the scene.
yeah.
And I run my own foundation as well, which I fund myself to promote
Yeah.
the uh, neglected poets,
Mm,
mainly the diaspora poets.
yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
since I came on the scene in last 5 years, I have given so much created so many opportunities and given so much opportunity to poets. For
Mm,
example, I have actually placed poets with the publishers, so
mm,
they
mm,
would
mm,
have never had an opportunity. They were struggling many years,
mm, mm,
um, but they never. The published work was quite often the self-publishing, and
mm, mm, mm.
I actually place them with the proper publishers as
That's
well.
great. That's
Uh,
great.
and to
Mm,
be able to
mm,
do that, you go back to your career and the management
mm,
skills and everything I had
of
acquired.
course.
They become
Yeah.
useful. You see, so exactly.
Negotiation skills, persuasion. Yes. Mm,
Absolutely. So a
mm,
lot of those things have happened. Some of those, for example, one of the recent poet, uh, again diaspora poet, and none of them have had review in TLS, for example, Times Literary Supplement.
no. No. Okay.
I
No.
managed to place a review, not written by me, but because my work involves everybody. I like to involve everyone in it. And that in a way also creates a lot of goodwill. And I suppose that has helped me towards my
Yes, yes.
getting my MBE in a way. Uh, so yeah, I placed, did the placing for that.
Yeah.
Again, as a editor, you also know, as a magazine editor as well, I have placed somebody else as well,
Yeah, of course. I know.
promoted someone else.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing, for example, very recently was Simon Armitage, for Poet Laureate. Michael Smith from PN Review and Carcanet was kind of like, working towards it. So he approached me and I did the heavy lobbying for Michael, for Simon to be the Poet Laureate.
Yes, yes.
So, but those things are it's not in public eye. So,
No,
but
no.
people who are involved in this obviously notice it, that you are there. So
Yeah.
I'm aware. So people are aware of me not only in poetry but elsewhere as well for what
Yes.
I do. Not all of them. Not all of them understand what we do. Not all,
No,
all
no.
of them understand poetry, even, or interested in poetry. But what we do has an impact, isn't it? So
I agree with you. And I think, I mean, for me, your MBE is testimony or testament to the fact that you are adding to the national discourse of what it means to be British in the 21st century. That there are people from all over the world who are living here who are contributing, and the diaspora, whoever they are, from whichever diasporic community they are contributing to this country and its future, really. And that's great. I mean,
but
it's
when
a
you
great
think of it,
testimony.
yeah, when you think of it, we started off our conversation, with the Harmondsworth prison.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To, from there,
Hammersmith
to
Prison.
come
Yeah,
to this point of receiving MBE,
it's fascinating. It's
it
astonishing,
means a
really.
lot to me because of that.
I'm
See?
sure.
And
Yes.
I mean, one of my friends joked, you become a part of establishment. You never do.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, did you have to wear all the stuff, a white long tail coat, and what did you have to wear for the
Well,
award?
what they call is like, the normal business suit and all
Yes,
that.
yes.
So you go with that kind of like, the presentable. You have to be presentable. You can't go rough and scruffy.
No. Oh, good. Yeah.
And one by one you are called in. But this time what happened is I have met Queen as well before. I met Queen long before this. It was in 2017. It was only few of us who were invited to the palace for a party. And at that time I was very fortunate to have an audience with her as well. She's the only one, and Duke of Edinburgh was the other one in the room. So, and that sort of level of audience you get, from,
Yeah.
and that's purely, I was invited again purely because of my poetry. So coming back to the point you made, that about how the MBE came about, again, probably in the circles, and, it was organized by the British Council, and very dear friend of mine at that time was the vice chair, Baroness Brasher.
Yes.
So she was there as well. But it puts you out there in front of the people.
Yes.
So it may have sort of gathered pace around that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Land with this thing.
It's valuable. I mean, but we're coming to our last question, which is: although you're a well-known poet, although your achievements within the in the poetry world, within the culture world, are well known, you're also qualified in accountancy, bookkeeping. And you still manage your business, consultants for VAT.
That's right.
Alongside this, and it would be interesting to understand how you juggle both of these things during the current pandemic, and what tips you can share for our students who are trying to find the balance particularly between study and work. Really.
Yeah, it is. The pressures are always there. You see, the key factor lies obviously in time management, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, these days, if you look for it and if you create opportunities, you have lots of them, which means your time is immediately divided. It's fallen apart.
Yes.
I mean, 1 minute we getting a call for this, other minute with something else. I mean, like today, for example, to use the immediate example, you know, to answer your question. I mean, I had a lot. I just within last 7 days, I won the grant award from the Arts Council to complete my next collection of poems.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's the bureaucracy. It's a public money, so you can't blame them. You know,
No, no,
the
no, no.
public money has to be obviously accountable.
Mm, mm,
So there are
mm.
lots of things which are required, and lots of things fell apart as well in the process. And today I have been bombarded by various things which have fallen apart. For example, you know, one of the mentors who was going to be there, you know, listed in the timetable, you know, to work with me to go through with with my work,
Yes.
pulled out as well. And I had to
Mm.
immediately organize for someone else to step in, which again, you know, would be acceptable on the
Yeah.
ground. I applied
Yes, yes,
to
yes.
aides, you see, as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
has to go all in hand, contacting them, you know, because they're all busy people. So within a day, I managed everything. And it's now all final documentations, everything is gone to them. So what
Very
I'm
good.
trying to say is that, you know, it is what helps as well is that, you know, being able to communicate very well. So that's a key factor
Yes.
in time management.
Time
Also,
management.
yeah. So the you know, also the your ability to be able to handle various media available to us, you know, technology available to us. And I'm quite savvy with computers. I've
Very
built
good.
computers as well myself before. I mean, any program comes to me, I can handle that, you know, very, very quickly. So yeah, you know, so I'm able to do lots of things with various programs. So I don't have to wait, you know, to
Yes.
get hold of someone. If I
Yeah.
have to do the web designing, I can do quickly my web designing, up, put up the page, and within half an hour or 15 minutes, it will be up there. So things like that, I'm able to do lots of things. If I have to, somebody sent me a video, I'm able to do the video editing. I can do the recording editing as well very quickly, and put it together and send it off. So again, you know, go back to that preparation,
Yeah.
skills,
Yeah.
what you know, that all helps in time management again.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Yes, yes.
you know, these sort of things happen, and in between, I also managed to do some cooking as well.
Where do you find the
We
time?
need to eat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You need to eat. Yeah, yeah. You know, I think our students will be absolutely fascinated by your journey, by your energy now, your accomplishments, your energy now, and the spirit in which you approach things. And so, really, thank you very much, Yogesh.
Oh, thank you for inviting me and
Not
giving me
at
this
all, not at all.
opportunity.
We'll speak soon.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.